This Cypress College Transfer Online Workshop provides an entire walkthrough of the CSU Fall 2021 application. We will be providing helpful links and resources in the description below, as well as a table of contents with timestamps, so you can skip ahead to different parts of this workshop. We also have a playlist of frequently asked questions, which may provide quick answers for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Before we get into the actual application, I just want to do a brief overview of the application as a whole. So the application deadline for fall 2021 admission to the Cal State University is October 1st through December 4th. Usually the deadline ends on November 30th. However, this year only, they are extending it to December 4th. So as long as you submit your application by 11:59 p.m. on December 4th, you will be considered for admission. The great thing about the Cal State application is that it is one application for all 23 CSUs. And I will show you how you can select which programs and schools you want to apply to. But if you have a list of 4 or 5 CSUs that you want to apply to, you only need to worry about filling out the application once, which is a huge time saver. It is important to note, however, that each application that you do submit does cost $70 per CSU. So if you were planning to apply to 2 CSUs, the total application fee would come out to $140. However, you may qualify for up to 4 application fee waivers, and I will also talk about how you can qualify and how you can check your fee waiver status within the application. But basically, the fee waiver is calculated based on your 2018 annual income. So before you begin your application, we recommend that you have the following items on hand. You will need your unofficial transcripts from all colleges attended. This includes any community colleges or universities that you attended, even if it was just 10 years ago and it doesn't even apply to what you're studying now. You need to provide that information. So make sure that you have a copy of all of your unofficial transcripts because you will need to refer to them. If you took advanced placement or international baccalaureate tests, you will need your test scores. Of course, if you haven't taken AP or IB test scores, this does not apply to you. You will need to list your social security number and your citizenship status within the application. However, this information does not affect your eligibility in any way. So if you do not have a social security number or you are not a U.S. citizen, you will still be considered for admission. You're also going to need your annual income from 2019. That portion of the application is what determines if you qualify for a fee waiver, which we will talk about later. And if you do not qualify for a fee waiver, you will have to provide your payment information once you click Submit Application. So you will need to have a debit or a credit card on hand. Okay, so this is the Cal State application website. The website is www.calstate.edu/apply. You're welcome to bookmark this page because one of the other great things about the Cal State application is that you don't need to complete the application all in one sitting. You can work on it as much as you want, save your progress, and then log out, and then you can log in at any time while the application filing period is open. So let's go ahead and get a bit more familiar with this website. When I scroll down, it's going to show me some information, but what I'm interested in here is selecting a term to apply for. And you're going to click this drop-down menu and you're going to select Fall 2021 and then click Apply. Then it's going to take you to this login page. And so if you haven't created your account already, you're going to select Create an Account. Now, when you sign up for an account with Cal State Apply, you want to sign up with an email address that you access regularly. because the email address that you sign up with is going to be shared with the CSUs that you apply to, and they are going to be using that email address to reach you with important information. So always sign up with an email address that you check regularly, and you have to write down your username and password because you're going to have to log back into this account in January to update your fall grades. So you want to save your login information. So create an account, and as soon as you create your account and you are signed in, you will begin your application. So the first thing that you're going to see when you log in for the first time is that it's going to ask for you to set up your extended profile. It's very important that you answer all of these questions accurately because it influences the rest of your application, meaning that it will tell you what programs you qualify for and things like that. And if you answer the wrong way, then it may lead to you not being able to find the programs that you actually want to apply to. So the first question that it asks is for your degree goal. So you would be earning your first bachelor's degree. And then it's going to ask which of the following best describes your current educational status. This first option does not pertain to us because we are applying as transfer students, so we are not considered graduating high school seniors. Instead, we're either going to be answering this second option, transferring with an associate degree for transfer, also known as an AAT or an AST, or you're going to select transferring from a community college or four-year institution. So for this option, you would select this if you plan to be getting an associate degree for transfer by the end of spring 2021. So if this applies to you, you're going to select this button, and then it's going to ask where you're getting your degree from. So I will be getting my degree from Cypress College, and my ADT program is psychology. If this does not apply to you, you're not getting an associate degree for transfer specifically. Maybe you are just taking the required classes that you need to transfer without getting a degree, or you are getting an associate in liberal arts with an emphasis in arts and humanity, for example. Then you would select this last option, transferring from a community college or four-year institution. So if you select that option, it's going to ask how many college credits will you have earned when you enroll at the CSU campus. Now, this is where most students make errors where it messes up their application. So you want to select that you are transferring with greater than or equal to 60 semester hours. A lot of students think, well, I don't have 60 units yet, so I'm transferring with less than 60 units. But to transfer to the CSU, you are required to have a minimum of 60 transferable units completed. So you will select greater than or equal to 60 units. Next questions are pretty self-explanatory. So have you previously attended a CSU campus? I have not. Your U.S. military status. I personally have not served in the U.S. military, so I would select that option. And lastly, do you have or will you require an F1 visa to study at the California State University? So if you're an international student, then you would say yes. If not, no. And then what U.S. state you regard as your permanent home. I live in California. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, so I would say California, and we will save that. Before we move on, I just want to show students if you feel like you may have made an error or you want to double check the information that you inputted in your extended profile when you first set up this account, you can just click on your name in the top right corner and click Extended Profile. And then it will bring up what we were just looking at with your degree goals, what best describes your current educational status, and so on. So the next thing that they're going to ask is for you to start adding your programs. So like I mentioned before, this is one application for all 23 CSUs, but within this application, you do have to select which CSUs you want to apply to. So I'm just going to start typing in here, since my major at Cypress College is psychology and I want to get a bachelor's degree in psychology, I'm going to type in psychology in this box. And once I type in psychology, it shows me a list of all of the schools that offer psychology. Right now, I am currently in a test website, so not all programs are listed here. So right now, the only program that is listed is Bakersfield Psychology. If it was already October and we were looking at, the whole list, you would see Cal State Fullerton listed and Cal State Long Beach and so on. So once I select that, you'll see that there is a green check mark next to that, so that means I've selected that program. When I scroll back up to the top of the page, you can toggle between this Add Program and Selected Programs tab. So when I click on Selected Programs, it shows the schools that I have selected and which major. I actually changed my mind and I don't want to study business anymore at Monterey Bay, so I can just click the X button. It's going to ask if I'm sure that I want to delete the program, and I click delete. And so it's deleted the program, and now I only have psychology listed here. So you can go back to Add Program and apply to as many CSUs that you would like. And then once you have made all of your selections, you can click Continue. And then it wants you to review all of the programs you've selected. Since I've only selected one program, it's showing up here. And then I'm going to click Continue to my application. And it will bring me to this main application page. As you're looking at the home screen, you'll see that the application is split up into 4 quadrants. The first quadrant that we're going to look at is personal information. Now, I'm not going to go through every section in here because it's pretty self-explanatory. This is just asking for your biographical information. All of the information that you provide in here will not affect your eligibility in any way. It's just ways to contact you and also to gather demographic information. I do want to briefly go over the citizenship residency information tab. Again, this does not affect your application in any way, so you will have to select the value that best describes your U.S. citizenship. So if you are a U.S. citizen, you would select U.S. citizen. If you are a DACA student or AB 540 or undocumented, you would select none. And if you are here on a visa studying internationally, then you would select other visa. Next thing that I want to mention is under residency. I indicated in the beginning of my application that I consider California as my permanent home in the United States. So then it's going to ask, do you claim California residency? Yes or no. That means have you been living in California for over 1 year? So I have been living in California since I was born, so I would say yes. Have you lived in California continuously since birth? Yes or no. If you answer no, you will have to provide an approximate month, date, and year that you moved to California. It doesn't have to be exact, but approximate is suggested. I've been living in California since birth, so I'm going to say yes. So that's how you would answer these questions. The reason why they're asking if you consider California as your permanent home or your California residency is to determine if you qualify for in-state tuition or out-of-state tuition. So if you do not indicate that California is your permanent home, then you will have to pay out-of-state tuition, which is significantly more expensive than what California residents pay. The next thing that I want to touch on is this other information tab. It's going to ask for your statewide student ID. So the statewide student ID trips a lot of students up because they often don't know what this is. You'll notice that a lot of these questions do have red asterisks next to them. This question does not. So this is not a required question. If you want to get your statewide student ID, what it is that it's a unique 10-digit number that was assigned to you if you attended a public California K through 12 school. You can find your statewide student ID on your high school transcript. Of course, if you don't have access to your high school transcript, you do not need to worry about inputting that number in this box. You can just leave this blank. And lastly, I want to touch on financial and parental information. So this is the portion of the application that determines if you qualify for a fee waiver. This is not the equivalent of a FAFSA. So to get started, you're going to have to read all of these questions. And if you can answer yes to any of these questions, one or more, then you would select one or more of the above statements apply to me. If they do not, you cannot answer yes to any of these questions. You would say none of the above statements apply to me. And that determines if you would be providing your own tax information or your parents' tax information. So let's say that I cannot answer yes to any of these questions. So I'm going to select none of the above statements apply to me. Then I would be considered as a dependent. And I just want to be clear that this does not matter how your parents claim you on your tax forms or if you're still living at home with a family or anything like that. In the eyes of the state of California, you are considered a dependent student if you cannot answer yes to any of these questions. So if you are a dependent, then it's going to ask for the total size of your parents' household in 2019. So that includes yourself, your parents or guardians, and any other dependents that are living in that household. So for me, I would say, like in my family, it would be my mom, my dad, my sister, and me. So that would be 4. And then you're going to need your parents' adjusted gross income for 2019. So you would have to look at their federal tax return and you would indicate that number here. And any untaxed income and benefits. So we have a whole frequently asked question video on this section alone on how to qualify for a fee waiver. So if you're unsure what untaxed income is or even adjusted gross income, I recommend that you check out that video that we have provided in the description below. That is for dependents. If you are an independent student, so you can answer yes to any of these questions. So you'll say one or more of the above statements apply to me. Now it's going to ask about your individual household size. So like I said, it doesn't matter if you're living at home with your family still, even if you are considered an independent student, you're only going to list yourself, your spouse, if you are married, and all dependents. So that is any children that you yourself have. If you are not married and you don't have kids of your own, your total size of your household from 2019 will be 1. And then it's going to ask specifically how many dependent children are living with you. If you don't have any children, you would just put 0. And then you're going to have to refer to your 2019 taxes and input that value there. If you did not file taxes for 2019, you would indicate a 0 in this adjusted gross income box. And if you did work a bit, but maybe you didn't make enough to file taxes, then you would put untaxed income and benefits for 2019. You would put that value in here. You do not include scholarship money or grants or loans, anything like that. That does not count as income whatsoever. So you do not need to worry about that. Okay, so that is financial information. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, and once you complete all of these sections, there will be check marks next to all of these tabs, and you will have completed this personal information section. So the next quadrant we're going to look at is academic history. This is the portion of the application that's very important that you get everything right. So make sure to grab your unofficial transcripts from all the colleges that you attended because you will need to refer to that. So under high schools attended, you should never be asked to provide your high school transcripts. So if you are being asked for your high school transcripts, you need to change your extended profile. So click on your name in the top right corner, extended profile, and change your units to greater than or equal to 60 units. And they just want to know if you graduated from high school. So I'm going to click add high school. And if you attended the high school in United States, you can just start typing in the zip code. So let's say that I went to Cypress High School, so I'm just going to start typing in Cypress, schools in Cypress, California, and I attended Cypress High School, so I'm going to click on that. And then it's going to ask when you attended the high school, so we'll say that I started high school in 2014, and when you start high school, typically in California, you begin in August, and I graduated in 2018, and that's usually in May. So that's my high school. It's also going to ask what the term type is. So most high schools are on the semester system, so I select semester, and I will save this school. You're going to continue doing this until you've added all of the high schools that you attended. So if you did attend multiple high schools, you will have to list all of them. If you attended a high school out of the country, you also have to report that information. You most likely will have to type it in manually, but they do want to know that information. If you were homeschooled as well, there is an option for you to add homeschooling. Next, it's going to ask about your graduation status. So you're going to select if you have or will graduate with your high school diploma, if you have a high school equivalency, or if you did not receive a high school diploma. So I did receive my high school diploma. I received it from Cypress High School, and I earned my diploma in May of 2018. And I will save that. It's going to ask for you to verify your graduation date. Yes, it's correct. And let's continue to the next section. This section is just asking if you attended a high school or secondary school outside of the United States. So if you did not, you would simply say no. If you did, you would say yes. It's going to ask about your academic performance, so your GPA, for example, and then the name of your degree. It shows some examples here, so like diploma, certificado, things like that. Next, we're going to get to colleges attended. So this is where you need to have your transcripts on hand so that you can refer to the semesters and years that you attended that college. So like I said before, you need to list all of the colleges that you attended long enough to get a grade on a transcript. So let's go ahead and add our first college. So I'm going to add a college, and I'm going to search for Cypress College. I'm going to start typing it in this search box. Here it pops up for me, Cypress College. And then it's going to ask, did you obtain or are you planning to obtain a degree from this college or university? I am going to say yes because I'm planning to get an associate degree for transfer in psychology. My degree is in progress because I will be graduating at the end of this spring semester. And then what type of degree are you planning to earn? So the degree type for me will be Associate of Arts for transfer. It's important to make sure that you select the option that says for transfer if you're getting an AAT or an AST, because that also will affect your application. The month that I'm getting my degree will be May, and the year will be 2021. My major is psychology, and that is my first degree that I am reporting. If you're getting a second degree, then you would select add another degree. My next degree will also be in progress. And let's say that this time I'm getting an associate in liberal arts with an emphasis in social and behavioral sciences. So the degree type in this case would be Associate in Liberal Arts. And then when you earn the degree, May 2021. If you're getting your degree at the end of the fall semester, it will be December 2020. Your major is just choose one of those subjects. So I said Associate in Liberal Arts with an emphasis in social and behavioral sciences. So I'm going to choose behavioral sciences. Okay, so that is Associate in Liberal Arts. You don't need to worry about listing it as a double major, even though it lists social and behavioral sciences. It's going to show up on your transcript. Just list one of the majors and you're fine. So you're just continue adding degrees until you've listed all of the degrees that you either have already earned or will be earning at this college. And then it's going to ask what term system the college uses. We are on the semester system at Cypress College. And then you're going to refer to your transcripts to look at your very first semester at the college and your last semester. So even if you were a dual enrollment student where you were in high school taking classes at Cypress College concurrently, you would list that semester, even if you were still in high school, as your first semester at Cypress. So for me, my first semester at Cypress College was fall. The first month of fall is August, and the year was 2018. If you no longer attend the college, you would list your last semester at the college. But for me, I'm taking classes at Cypress now and also in the spring, so I'm going to check this box that I'm still attending this college. And then I will save. That all looks good to me. I double checked my transcript and it all matches up. Now let's go ahead and add Fullerton College. So if you took classes at both Cypress and Fullerton, even though we're in the same community college district, we are not the same school. So you will have to list Fullerton College separately. So let's start typing in Fullerton College. I am not getting a degree from Fullerton College, so I'm going to say no. Fullerton College is on the semester system, and I only took one class for one semester at Fullerton College. So let's say that I attended during the spring. First month of the spring semester is January, and the year we'll say is 2019. And then my last semester, so if I only attended for one semester, I'll still write spring, the month. Instead of saying January, I'm going to say May, because May is the last month of that semester, and it's not going to let you move forward if you say that you attended January to January. So I attended from January to May of 2019. And I will save that. If you plan to take classes, maybe you're already enrolled in winter classes that are coming up at another community college, you can list that as well. If you attended an international college, you do not need to worry about inputting any transcripts, but you do need to report that you attended that college or university. So you would add a college, and then you'll have to type it in manually as it appears on your transcript. Okay, so now we're going to get into the most time-consuming portion of the application, which is college coursework. And this is where you're going to be entering your college transcripts manually. So when you scroll down, you will see a list of the colleges that you just added, and I'm going to start with Cypress College. Now, it's going to prompt you to start by adding your first semester. So add a semester. The first semester that I attended Cypress College was fall of 2018. And it's going to ask for your academic status. So what academic status means is if you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. Forget everything that you know about your high school experience, where your first year you're a freshman, second year you're a sophomore, all the way until your fourth year you're typically a senior. Just forget all of that. because at the community college, that doesn't necessarily count. So you're only taking lower division courses at a community college, which means that you're considered a freshman and then a sophomore. You will not be considered a junior student until you transfer to a four-year university and you begin taking 300 and 400 level classes. So you're considered a freshman from 0 to 29 transferable units, and you're considered a sophomore from 30 all the way until you're ready to transfer. So at this point in my career, I am a freshman because I haven't completed any units yet, and my completion status is completed because I have grades to report. Before we fully dive into the college coursework section, I just want to go over some grade keys. So you may want to refer back to this when you are inputting your own transcripts. So for grades, it's going to ask for you to give a letter, but sometimes you don't get an A, B, C, D, or F. You may have something different. So if you took a course that is passing or not passing, you would put P or NP. If you withdrew from a class, you would put W in the grade box. If you repeated a course, you would put RP. If you got an academic renewal, you would put AR. If you got an excused withdrawal due to COVID-19, you would put EW. And if you took AP or IB test and you got course credit, then you would need to put CR in the box. There is a frequently asked questions video on how to input your AP test credit so that you can get credit in this transcript portion. So let's start by adding our first course. So I'm going to refer to my transcript and enter the course code exactly as it appears on your transcript. So my first course listed on my transcript is English 100, which the code that appears on my transcript is ENGL. And you'll see as I start typing in ENGL, it shows me a list of suggestions. Here's English 100 right here, and look at what happens when I click on this option. It fills in a couple of things for me. So it filled in the course title, it filled in the number of credits, and it checked the transferable box. So that looks good. You want to verify that this credit also is reflected in your paper transcript. So if this is different for whatever reason, maybe you took the class several years ago and it's changed, but on your transcript it shows 3, you would have to change this to 3. But for me, this was a 4-unit course when I took it. It's reflected here, so that's good. So now the only thing that we need to change now is the subject. So if you're ever in doubt or you don't know what the subject is, then you can just go based on those first 4 letters of the course code. So ENGL 100. ENGL means English, so the subject is English. And then I'm going to put in the grade, so I got a B. This CAS grade box just is grayed out forever. You can't do anything with it. It's for Cal State Apply's own purposes, so don't worry about that. So this first class looks good to me. So now let's move on to the next course. So let's say that I also took Math 40. So any course that is level 100 or above is considered transferable. So you're going to see that course suggestion pop up, and this row will be automatically completed for you. But look what happens when I try to type in Math 40. So I'm going to look at my transcript. I'm going to start typing in Math 040, and it's telling me no results found. The reason why is because Math 40 is below level 100, so it's not transferable, but I still need to list this course in this section. So I'm going to finish typing it in Math 40C. I have to type in the course title manually, so Intermediate Algebra. The subject is Mathematics, And the credits, I'm going to look at my transcript. It's 4 whole units, so I'm going to type a 4. This drop-down menu represents the decimal point, so 4.00. And I got an A in this course. And I do not check this transferable box because it's below 100. So the great thing about Cal State Apply is that it automatically calculates your transferable GPA based on what you input in this college coursework section. So it's going to count out any non-transferable courses in your transferable GPA. Let's add another course, and we'll say I also took COM 100, so I'm going to start typing in COM. There's COM 100, filled in the subject for me, the course title. The subject is communications. The credits is a 3-unit course, and I withdrew from this class, so I got a W on my transcript. So you have to list withdrawn classes as long as it appears as a W on your transcript. Of course, if you took a course and you withdrew before the deadline, so you don't have a W on your transcript at all, it doesn't even appear, you don't need to list it. The only time you list withdrawn classes is if you actually got a W on your transcript. So that's for withdrawn courses. But maybe instead of withdrawing from this course, let's say that I actually got a D. So I failed the course, and then I took it a semester later. I took it again and I passed, and I submitted a course repeat adjustment to admissions and records, and I got this D replaced with my passing grade that I got the following semester. So instead of putting the failed grade in this box, instead you're going to put RP for repeat. Then once you get to the semester where you took that COM 100 class a second time and you passed, let's go ahead and show an example. Let me click save here. Let's add another semester. So here's my following semester, add a course, COM 100. And now I'm going to put the passing grade that I got. So I got a C. So you'll see the first attempt at taking this COM 100 class, I listed it as RP instead of the D or the F. And in the second attempt, in this semester that I took it, I got the passing grade. I'm just going to list it as is. If you took the course and you withdrew from it, but then took it again later, that does not count as a repeat. So you'll just put W. Let's say instead of getting a repeat, I got an academic renewal. So academic renewals, you could apply for it only once at Cypress, and there are strict rules if you qualify for an academic renewal or not. But if you did get a course as an academic renewal, that means that that failed course or that failed grade is removed from your GPA. Then instead of putting the failed grade, you will put AR for academic renewal. Basically, you're just going to continue this process in chronological order all the way until you get to the current semester. So let's go ahead and add this semester. And you'll note that for fall 2020, because we are in the middle of the semester, we don't have any grades to report yet, you will say that it's in progress or planned. Even if you've already taken a course maybe and it was short term, so maybe it was only like an 8-week course and you already have a grade for it, it doesn't matter. You still just need to list it as in progress. So then you'll start typing it in. Let's say I took Philosophy 170. And it won't let me input a grade here because I don't have any grades to report. So you're going to add all of the classes that you're currently enrolled in, and you're also going to add your spring semester of next semester if you're planning to take classes. So now the CSUs recognize that things change all the time, so they just want an estimate of what you plan to take in the spring. So you can just kind of look at your education plan and say, okay, well, I have this course left over. Let's say it's CIS 111, and there's no grade to report again. And so you'll list all the classes that you plan to register for this spring. In January, you are going to be asked to log back into Cal State Apply to update your fall grades, and that's when you can also update your spring courses that you registered for. So there will be a video explaining how to update your grades in January, so keep an eye out for that. But basically, that's how you would input your transcripts. And this is just for Cypress College. So once you're done inputting your transcripts for Cypress, you'll go back here to College Coursework, and you're going to scroll down and then start adding your other courses from your other colleges and universities. Once you're done with that, you can go over here to the top right where it says Calculate My Transfer GPA, and then it's going to take all of your transferable classes that you reported and put it together in one transferable GPA. So you can find that over here. All right, so the next section is general education. This section is pretty easy. It should automatically have pulled over your Golden 4 courses. So your Golden 4 courses are your oral communication requirement, written communication, critical thinking, and your math. And you'll see that it's already pulled over my COM 100, English 100, and my Math 141 that I have inputted in my college coursework section. The only thing that I'm missing is critical thinking, and that is because it is an in-progress course. So when I select this drop-down, I'm going to choose my Philosophy 170 course, which satisfies that critical thinking course. Other courses would be like English 103 or English 104. That would also count as critical thinking. So now all of that looks good. Do not opt out of any of these requirements. I believe that if you're at Long Beach and you're an engineering major, you can opt out of your math, but only do that if you're advised by a counselor. Other than that, you should be listing all of your Golden 4 courses, whether you have already completed the course or if it's in progress or planned. And then you can save that. And the next section is standardized tests. So for transfer applicants, you are not required to provide any SAT or ACT scores, so you don't need to worry about that. If you did take AP classes, you will need to add your test scores there. If you took CLEP, college level exam program, you would add test scores here. The CLEP program is not the same thing as taking an assessment for your English or math class when you first came to Cypress. That's not CLEP. So if you've never heard of CLEP before, you have no idea what it is, that means that you have not taken CLEP, so you don't have test scores to report. And then lastly, if you took International Baccalaureate tests and you have scores, you would submit that here. So if you do not have AP, CLEP, or IB scores, then you would select I'm not adding any standardized tests. And then that brings us back to our homepage. Okay, so then that brings us to the third section, which is supporting information. Depending on what you indicated in your extended profile up here, you may see 1 or 2 tabs. So if you said that you are getting an associate degree for transfer from a community college, then you'll see this ADT tab here. And this is just where you're going to input your Cypress College student ID number or whatever. If you're getting a ADT from a different community college, you'll provide that student ID number. Your California Community College ID is not required. You'll see that there's not an asterisk here. Most students don't know their California Community College ID, so you can leave this field blank. And then your anticipated or completed degree date. So if you are getting your degree at the end of the spring semester, you would say May of 2021. If you are getting your degree at the end of this fall semester, you would say December 2020. And if you earned your degree last year, let's say last spring, then you would say May of 2020. So you could just save that, and then we can move on to Educational Opportunity Program. So this is optional. It's similar to the Cypress College EOPS program, where it is a program for the CSU that assists educationally disadvantaged students. So if you are the first person in your family to go to college, or you have significant financial need, or so on, you can qualify potentially for this Educational Opportunity Program. For more information, you can click on this link and it will take you to the EOP site to learn all about what it is, how you would be eligible, and also the deadlines to apply. And so it's just going to ask a bit. If you are already enrolled in EOPS, you would say yes or no, and then you would indicate if you wish to apply to EOP. So you can only apply to EOP in this application. You cannot choose to apply to EOP once you transfer to the CSU. So you have to make your decision now. The good thing about this is that the deadline to complete this portion of the application is January 15th. So you can say, yes, I want to apply to EOP, but I will return later to complete additional questions. You would say no, you don't have to worry about anything. Or if you want to start the EOP portion now, you can say yes. And then you'll see a list of other questions that you need to answer. And something that I want to mention is that for EOP, you will need to provide 2 letters of reference who can comment on your ability to succeed in college. So you will need to reach out to a professor or a counselor, an employer or supervisor. It just cannot be a family member who will be able to advocate for you on your behalf. So you will need to get those references, and we recommend reaching out to those references with enough time so that they have time for them to write you a letter of recommendation. So if you have any other questions about EOP, you can click on this website and learn all about EOP. So the 4th section is program materials. Depending on what programs you are applying to, this may or may not be checked off. So I actually haven't touched this quadrant at all, but it's already complete for me. And that's because the program that I'm applying to does not require any additional information. If you're applying to Cal State Long Beach, this will also be checked off for you. If you are applying to Cal State Fullerton, they do require you to answer one more question. So you would click on program materials and find the program that is not completed. You would select that program, and then there is a questions tab where you can answer the university's question. It's usually pretty easy. It's usually a yes or no type of question. For Cal State Fullerton, they just want to make sure that you completed the general education portion under academic history, which you should have. All right, so once you have completed all the sections, they should be green like this with all 4 quadrants checked off. Then once you're ready to submit your application, you can go up to this tab here to submit. If you decide that you actually want to add more programs, you can click on Add Program here. Just make sure that if you do add a program, that your program materials has been totally completed as well. So when you click Submit Application and all of your applications are ready to submit, you're going to see a new link that's going to appear that you couldn't see before. It's going to say Check My Fee Waiver Status. So this is not going to appear until you finish everything. And once you do finish everything, then you will find out if you qualify for a fee waiver. So you can click here to check my fee waiver status, and you'll see that I actually qualify for 4 out of 4 application fee waivers. So that means that I get 4 free applications. So I can apply to 4 CSUs without having to pay the fee. Even though I qualify for fee waivers, it's still going to show the total fees here, but once you click submit all, you will not be required to make a payment. So once you have checked that everything is correct, you can click submit all. So once you are ready to submit, you can kiss your application goodbye and wish it well. It is important to know that everything needs to be accurate. You cannot make any changes to your application if you forgot to add a course or anything like that and from the past. You cannot make any changes to that. The only changes you can make are in January to your fall 2020 classes and your spring 2021 classes. Those are the only changes you can make. Otherwise, you are set in stone. So that's important to know. We do have interns that can look over your application and just make sure that everything looks good to go before you click submit. We're happy to help you with that, and we're going to talk a bit more about one-on-one assistance if you need it. So in terms of next steps, you will need to check your email regularly. The CSUs that you apply to will be reaching out to you individually with their own next step items. So you want to just stay organized, stay on top of upcoming deadlines and documents that the CSUs are asking of you. I can tell you off the bat that Cal State Long Beach is going to email you to complete a supplemental application. That is an additional application on top of Cal State Apply. It's pretty simple. It only takes about 15 minutes to complete, but you will need to complete that in order to move forward with the application process. Cal State Fullerton is going to email you and ask for you to create a prospective student portal. So that doesn't mean that you've automatically been accepted to Cal State Fullerton, but they do want you to create a portal where you will log in. It's kind of similar to My Gateway. You'll log in to view any next step action items. Do not send your official transcripts until the CSU requests them. So you'll be sending one batch of transcripts after the fall semester ends to verify your fall grades. And then if you are accepted to the CSU, you'll need to send a final transcript in June to demonstrate your final spring grades. But don't worry about sending those until the CSU asks for them. If you are earning an associate degree and you plan to get it by the end of this spring semester, you need to apply for spring 2021 graduation. So earning an associate degree is not automatic. You will have to apply at Admissions and Records. We have included a link to the associate degree applications in the description below. The deadline is the second week of February. We don't have an exact date yet, but definitely keep that in mind. Admissions decisions are going to be announced by April, so you're going to get an email notification whether you've been accepted, waitlisted, or denied. And for some schools, you have to accept their admissions offer by May 1st, and other schools you have to accept it by June 1st. So in the spring semester, we will have plenty of workshops to tell you all about next steps and what to expect in terms of enrolling at the CSU. And lastly, we encourage you to finish the school year strong. Just because a school has sent you an offer of admission doesn't mean that you are in no matter what grades you get in the spring. If your grades dip, then the CSU has the right to rescind their offer of admission. So you want to continue to get solid grades so you don't jeopardize that admission decision. We are offering one-on-one CSU application assistance online through Cranium Cafe. They are drop-in hours, so you don't need an appointment. You can just be seen on a first-come, first-served basis. It'll be myself or maybe some interns that will be helping students with their applications. we're happy to look over your application and just make sure that everything looks good to go before you submit. We can also answer any questions that you may have about the application. We just cannot sit with you through the entire application. We encourage you to come to us with questions already in mind. So you can find out that information by following us on social media. We also have email lists, and you can reach us in the contact information that we've listed in the description below. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We are here to help you succeed and help you transfer to a CSU to earn that bachelor's degree. So you can always call us at 714-484-7129. You can email us at transfercenter@cypresscollege.edu. If you wanted to sign up for a live workshop through Zoom, you can visit the workshop link in the description below to register for one of our live workshops. And we also offer online transfer counseling through Cranium Cafe, which we've also listed below. You just need to log in with your My Gateway credentials to access Cranium. So that concludes our workshop. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.